And welcome in to another edition of Drawing a Crowd, the business of sports tourism. I'm Stan the Fan Charles of Pressbox and PressBoxOnline.com. And the real host of the show is the executive director of Maryland Sports, and that is Terry Hasseltine. Terry, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, Stan. It's good to be here for another episode.
All right. We've got a special guest. I had a chance to catch up with him a little bit earlier, and he is the director of tourism and business development for Ocean City, Maryland. That's Tom Perlozzo. But we're going to get to him in a little bit. But I wanted to talk to you about a couple events, three events, in fact, that you've just finished up with. I'm going to save the biggest for last. You know, I'm a big five-star fan. So
Mhm.
let's start with the Washington International Horse Show. Tell us, our audience, a little bit about what it was, what it is, where it was held, and how it went.
Yeah, so the Washington International Horse Show was hosted at Showplace Arena down in Prince George's, County, over the last week of October. Saturday night, this was the grand finale of it all. It's the 5-star of show jumping, similar to the 5-star of eventing that we'll talk about a little bit later. But it brings the best show jumpers in the world, right here to Maryland to compete for, the coveted honor of winning, an international showcase. Riders from all over the world, both young and professionals, showcasing their skills inside the arena at Showplace. Sheila Curry, who is the head of the organization that runs the Washington International Horse Show, does a fantastic job. Dignitaries across the region, the embassies and the like come together to celebrate the equestrian industry. So it's a really spectacular event. It's another one of those events that we're really proud to be associated with because it brings the best of the best. And it's both, international and men and women competing on equal footing.
So this is a new event for Maryland, the state of Maryland,
Yes.
correct? It's been held
Yes,
for a long time in DC, correct?
that is correct. And it's one of those things where it was at, Capital One Arena and it just, the size and the scale of the event needed something that was a lot more equestrian specific. And Showplace Arena has the stabling and the other things that are necessary to host an equestrian event without having to bring in all the temporary infrastructure that Capital One had to be. So it was a sophisticated move by the organizers to get an arena that really fit the needs of the event, and also realizing that Maryland was really at the epicenter of the growth of equestrian sports in the United States, and therefore made sense for the move to Showplace Arena. And Sheila Curry and team did a tremendous job of putting together and making sure that it's a world class experience.
And what's the size of that arena, Prince George? Does that seem
It's
like
about 37 to 4,000 inside the arena once you set it up for the purpose of equestrian sport, but it has really nice periphery VIP seating and the like. So you're probably putting about 5 to 6,000 people in there in total, when it's all said and done with the hospitality and the seating.
and everybody ends up being happy with the event there right now?
Oh, people leave there, content with one, seeing great equestrian sport, but two, the team there does a really nice job of making everybody feel like they're meant to be there and they're meant to be a part of the environment and really enjoying equestrian sports at the highest level.
All right. Now tell us, before we talk about the Maryland Five Star, tell us about the recently run Baltimore Running Festival that's held downtown and
Well,
held actually quite a bit, you know.
yeah, I mean, Corrigan Sports for years has done a tremendous job of, building the reputation of the Baltimore Running Festival. It's a multi-tier running event. It's a marathon, half marathon, got 10K, 5K, and people from all over. Again, another international event that has international runners coming in to compete because they're trying to make their mark on, other marathons that are out there in the marketplace. And then you have, the locals who are just really coming in, healthy lifestyle, getting an opportunity to run the streets of Baltimore and really seeing the neighborhoods well on foot. So it's a really magnificent experience for those who love and enjoy the art of running. I happen not to be one of those people, so I like to do it through the window of my car or some type of Uber or whatever. But at the same time, it's a really great experience for those who enjoy running and getting to see Baltimore from a different perspective. And like again, Corrigan Sports, world class organization, does tremendous work putting that marathon each and every year. And it's a heavy lift. I mean, between the city services and their team, and the amount of road closures and pushing, vehicles and people around 26.2 miles is not an easy task, and they make it look effortless. So congratulations to Corrigan Sports and the work that they do.
And how did it look down at the finish line? I mean, was there a
Oh,
big crowd down there for that?
good crowd down there. And the nice part is they finish right there near the convention center and Light Street in that area. So they bring everybody into McKeldin Square, have a little party right there at the finish lines, and all the races seem to converge right at that location. So it's a really nice job by the Corrigan Sports Group, but it's really a really great showcase for the city of Baltimore to show, like we do with the cycling classic and like we do with the 10K and some other events that are out there, getting a chance to see the city from a different perspective than behind glass or behind or oversight in an airplane.
Last but not least, we recapped the event that I know you've really put not that you don't put heart and soul into every event, but you really went out with, I'm not saying on a limb, you thought it out right, but you're in the midst of creating your team. Jeff Newman and his team are creating a really big time event. You told me 4 or 5 years ago this has a chance to be kind of a yearly Preakness event.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's well on its way. Do you have crowd numbers for this year that you can tell us roughly to compare what it's done the last 3 years, 4 years?
Yeah. I mean, I know you were out there, Stan, over the weekend. This is the first year where we had crowd sizes every single day. So even on dressage day on Thursday and Friday, we had good crowds. And then on Saturday, we had, exceptional crowds. And then on Sunday, you couldn't find a seat in the building to watch the final of show jumping. So watching dressage, into the athleticism of the cross country day, and then into the athleticism of and the agility of show jumping, the numbers were spectacular. Just a visual perspective.
Yeah.
Right now, we're still doing some final calculations, but we know that we're about 15%, 15+% higher than last year, just on the preliminary numbers. So we know that we're cresting up in the mid to upper 30s this year. The final numbers will be here in probably another week or two. You got to go through all the ticket stubs, and you got to go through all the cashing out and all those things. Then when you close out a mega event of that magnitude, but you hit the nail on the head, Stan. Every year we continue to grow. Every year we make the right enhancements. Jeff and team and Marissa and Connie and Joni, and I can go on and on and on. There are just so many people who play a significant role in making this event what it is, and it just gets better every year. And so we're well on our way to be that fall Preakness type environment where you put it on your bucket list. It's the place to be. It's the place to wear your wares and be out there and show the world, that you are somebody in business or in industry. And, we're really proud of the work that's happening under the tutelage of the Sport and Entertainment Corporation of Maryland.
Terry, I know you're a believer in marketing, but is this the type of event that grows exponentially just because people leave it and say, man, you got to get to I mean, in other words, Saturday, the weather was, first of all, cooperated. It was so spectacular out there. But is that the largest marketing tool you have, is word of mouth now to grow it? I know you're not going to sit on your laurels and not market, but is that the biggest component you have?
Well, word of mouth is always a way to enhance any type of marketing strategy that you have, because when we get back out there this summer and start really promoting it again, people connecting with the iconic nature of our logo and the experience they have, then it starts to trickle out 2 or 3-fold in the like. But anybody who leaves some environment with a world-class experience and just has a really high moment of having a great time, you can't buy that type of experience back. And so not only are we making first impressions, but on some people this year we made our 4th impression on them. And the next year we're going to make our 5th. And then that's where the branch of the tree on this event really grows, because now people have FOMO, fear of missing out on something. So we now have that starting to build up in the expectation year in, year out. But, I think I told you at the beginning of this, year 4 to 5 is usually where you start seeing the crest of, are you going to make it or are you not? And because of what we're seeing year in, year out, we think we're about to make it. And that's going to require, people still coming out in the numbers that are coming out and some additionals. But I also think it's a time, and now with the county committing 5 years of funding towards the event, The state's right there in the facility and with its support, physically as well. Sponsors now realize they can sign long-year deals with us. It's not year in and year out. So we're starting to open the Pandora's box of allowing more people to sign on with us for longer terms, because we know that we have the governmental commitments for at least the next 5 years. And then that takes us into the 10th year of the event. And if at that time, we're not in the place we want to be, then that's shame on us for not continuing to grow and build and, enhance the product. So really excited. And I think, we went out on the limb, and I think the limb is really supporting us to say good job and kudos to a job well done.
I was talking to a woman that worked at one of the shops, and she was British, and she was telling me about how she said, well, in England at Birmingham, we have on Saturday we have 100,000 people.
Hmm.
I said, that's nice, that's great, but this is in its 4th year. Yeah, Birmingham's probably been running the 5-star for 50, 60, 70 years.
Exactly. So they've had, both Burley and Badminton in England and Kentucky and, others. They have a lot of years. They're all in double-digit years of experience in building their product. We are, like I said, we're in single digits still. And if you talk to some other folks that were out there, they're saying within 4 years, you become one of the iconic, measurable 5-stars, in the process. And here we are, still learning our way, still trying to figure out what is working, what isn't working. How do we, get more people on the grounds and the like? And people are already comparing us to Burley Badminton in Kentucky. So that's kudos to, going back to Jeff, Marissa, Connie, Joni, and team in Fairhill International for helping us build a solid foundation of operations that people in the equestrian space really can grab hold of. And then we're putting on the commercial assets to really bring it all to life. So really proud of the team, really proud of the work that's being accomplished when it comes to that event. And I know our leadership across the state is really thrilled that this thing is really starting to take off.
Terry, one more question about it, or two things about the Maryland 5-star. When I was leaving, because I don't stay to the bitter end on cross country day, I see it, and I get the experience and all that. When I was leaving, I was looking at it, looked like you got tremendous room for more parking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there really is room for growth as well.
Yes.
Is it a fair estimate that you think you can grow if you're in the mid-30s now, which I think the first year was like 17 or 18?
Yeah.
You think next year you can be over 50?
Oh, I think we have the capacity to handle, getting up over 50. I think the parking there, obviously, if Mother Nature cooperates, it makes it a lot easier because we are parking on gravel lots and yard lots when you're out at the grounds there at Fair Hill. But I think when it's all said and done, we have the plans in place to move traffic and to move vehicles around within close proximity with the shuttle system we have in place too. When we get to that threshold of 40 plus, where we're going to have to start looking at ancillary, places to put vehicles. I look forward to that challenge. I'm looking forward to implementing our entire plan, which is shuttles, remote places, so people can come in the backside, especially on cross country day, moving people around, the grounds in different ways. That's the unique part about cross country day is you not only have the main venue open and really ready to go, but you're also parking people on the tailgate spots along the 4.5 mile course, and then up at Sawmill, you're bringing additional vehicles there. So you're dispersing some of the vehicles on cross country day. Our unique challenge would be is if cross country day had to consolidate into one location, then that's where we have to implement all the strategies that we have in place. But Jeff, team, all of them have plans that have plans. So that's the great part. We assembled a great team that's thinking about the future, the growth, and the strategies, when we get to that 50,000+ on cross country day.
I guess I can tell you now that John Colson and I have bought a big tract of land out there, press box parking. Just kidding, Terry.
Yeah. Hey, man, but we hope people have entrepreneurial spirit like that and find ways to grow into the environment, because that's how we all win.
Yeah, it's remarkable, the growth of that event. All right, I already do look forward to next year.
So do I.
We had a chance to chat a little bit earlier. I know one of the things you want to do on drawing a crowd, the business of sport tourism, is shine a spotlight on some of your partners. And
Yes.
Tom Perlozzo is one of them. He's the
Mhm.
director of tourism business development. Talk just a pinch about him. He talks about you in the interview we got a chance to do a little earlier.
Yeah.
But talk about his importance to your vision.
Well, it is tremendous. Tom had came on board originally in Worcester County and then moved over to Ocean City a few years ago. Tom has been a leader in creating conversation around sports tourism in our Ocean City beach environment about how do we grow it, how do we scale it, and then how do we add other elements, maybe not sports related, that help impact the entirety of the lower shore. And Tom is creative. He's you know hired a brilliant staff that have created opportunities for Ocean City to elevate and compete against some of the others who have been in the market a lot longer than our Ocean City. So, to his credit, he's assembled the leadership of Ocean City, crossed the little breezeway and made sure that people in Worcester County are coming and engaging together. So they're working as one entity. So they're strategically looking at a new multi-sport facility, in the region that Ocean City's, leading the charge on. He's hired some really great personnel and Kimmy and Chip to help, bring their brand beyond the lower peninsula and make sure that it's getting into, central Maryland, but also nationally getting out to various trade shows with us. So Tom has been a leader from the get-go, and he's been a huge supporter of Maryland sports and Team Maryland and things that we're doing, through our organization. So, we both champion each other to make sure that we elevate the ship together.
It was interesting to hear him talk about, and you'll hear it in just a moment, folks, but to talk about how your Team Maryland and Maryland sports is about more tourism than it is sports. In other words, it really is. It gets back to the title of the show. It's the business of sports tourism because, as we'll hear, these music events he's put on don't really have anything to do with sports, but they do bring tourism dollars to the
Yes,
state of Maryland. Let's
100%.
let's listen to Tom Perlozzo right now. And happy to be joined by Tom Perlozzo. He's currently the Director of Tourism and Business Development for the town of Ocean City, Maryland. And Tom, first of all, that name around Baltimore, Perlozzo, is pretty familiar to folks.
Oh, without a doubt. Baltimore's, especially the Orioles, have a great place in our heart. My brother was there for, some 15 years, and, we love the O's.
How's Sam doing now? Before we
Sam's
dig into
doing great.
business,
Yeah, he's doing really well. He's in Florida, Tampa, living. Does some Major League Baseball assignments here and there, but mainly playing golf and enjoying his sunny weather.
All right. Well, please tell him I said hello. All right.
I will, for sure.
All right. Wanted to dig into this. One of the things I've learned by my partner on this show, drawing a crowd, the business of sports tourism, Terry Hasseltine, one of the things I've learned is the importance of partnerships. Can you talk a little bit about how Terry formed the partnerships with you down in Ocean City and made you part of the Maryland sports team, Team Maryland?
Sure, I sure can. Terry and Maryland Sports Commission have been really an integral part in allowing Ocean City to host some major events. And, their major sports fund help recruit, retain, secure, and execute major events. In particular, maybe the Maryland Five or an international soccer event. And we were fortunate enough here to be able to capture two large-scale music festivals held on our beautiful beach here in Ocean City. We sold 55,000 tickets,
Wow.
5 days. It was a tremendous opportunity. And, the Maryland Sports Commission, again, it's our job to bring people to Maryland, especially Ocean City. One of the unique things about this opportunity, which we were able to do, is we attracted roughly 50% of those ticket holders have never been to Ocean City or Maryland. So we had a great opportunity to promote the rest of the state as well as their stay here in Ocean City.
Now, was that the Oceans Calling Music Festival?
Yes, second year for Oceans Calling, and we launched a new one called Country Calling this year. And again, same sort of attendance, uh, beautiful weather, again, showing off Ocean City in Maryland. Just unbelievable. Big names in that one, like Jelly Roll, Lainey Wilson, Tyler Childress. I mean, it was just a phenomenal event.
How do you chart that 50% of that 55,000 had never been in the state of Maryland? How are you able to chart that?
Well, we're lucky enough that when they buy most of their tickets online.
Okay.
Uh, so we are able to capture an email address. We know, and then we mail out the tickets. So we know their zip codes. And again, when I said that, look, we sold tickets in all 50 states. It was kind of crazy, and some international destinations. People flew in from Germany, as an example, coming in here. And again, we do a post-event survey. We do a pre-event survey. We, in the tourism department, we're really anxious to make sure that people know what to do, where to go, and how to get around. And based on our metrics of folks and C3 Presents, which was our promoter, we were able to determine that to be the case. And, even in year one, it was 70% of those ticket holders. So we knew we attracted 20%. We brought them back, and, we introduced another 50% of our beautiful resort state. So really unique stuff. This is nitty gritty, easy, stuff to check on. And people, believe it or not, these festival goers, they will tell you what they like and they don't like.
Is there I'm sure there's a way to track this, but have you sensed yet whether there's some recidivism with the visitors? In other words, have they come back yet, or is it too new in these music festivals so far?
Well, we've been able to after year one, once we have the IP addresses, because we do some crazy intelligence that tells and tracks people, their movement, because we want to control traffic and figure out how it works. We were able to determine, again, at least 10 to 15% of those folks came back for a summer vacation. Now, we only checked the summer, but that was a significant amount for us. Typically that's happened here in Ocean City. I know when we first started the golf movement, we thought, well, golfers, once they come here, if they're just a golfer, they'll find out what it's like to, Ocean City's all about. Maybe they'll come back for a summer vacationer, and then vice versa. So it's really done the job for us, and economically, it's just been a bonus.
Now, when are these two music festivals, Oceans Calling Music Festival and Country's Calling Music Festival, when are they held?
So it's off season. Basically, Oceans Calling was September 27th through the 30th. And then the following weekend, which I believe was October 4th through the 6th, we did Country Calling. And it's a shoulder season event. We have great summer season. Then all of a sudden, boom, we're going to hit them again. And we have a surprise coming up for all those people out there that may be listening. Check out May. It's coming up for another event.
All right. That sounds good. You referenced back when you started talking about about Terry and the Team Maryland and Maryland sports, how they benefit you. You talked about the Major Event Fund. Can you tell us a little bit more about why that's so important, and where does that funding come? Is that taken from the profits of other events and put into a pool, or does the state fund that?
I'm not 100% sure, but I will tell you that I believe that is state funded.
Okay.
And again, when I mentioned economic benefits, and I can tell you that those two music festivals generated well over 250 million in economic benefits, which is really generated close to $8 million in taxes. That's how the state gets refunded, I guess, on their investment. And small towns like Ocean City, even though we're big in the summer, we only have 7,500 year-round residents. This type of funding opportunity allows us to do that.
Yeah, it's huge for a city the size of Ocean City.
Right, and again, that's for any city across Maryland. It's just a blessing for us to be able to do that. I know we meet the criteria. There has to be so many thousands of people attending, but it put Ocean City on the map, and it also put Maryland on the map, and we're really proud of that. We can't thank the Maryland Sports Commissioner Terry Hasseltine enough for allowing that to happen here.
Just one more question about this. These festivals, was the idea that these things would draw people at off times? In other words, they're not dead summer. They're just when the season's ending, but you hope you're getting good weather. So the idea there is to bring some ancillary revenue that wouldn't have existed during the summer.
Well, there's no question. I mean, look, jobs are really important to Ocean City. It's difficult when you have a seasonal culture, I'll say. So allowing the businesses to remain open and our product to remain open and our employees to have a wage allows the businesses, to continue to flourish, but also keeps the doors open through the winter. And that's really one of our goals. Strategically, the town's looking to become a year-round destination as best as it can.
Yep.
Some products are going to close, some products are going to stay open, but they are strategically placed not to interfere with our summer beach vacations, obviously. And look, we always have great weather in September, October. We've had some bad luck on a day or two, but when you're talking 75-degree days, in October, and we don't have the crowds, the restaurants stay open, the water's warm, we do have people on the beach. We have like 26,000 rental units or non-property owners here. They can come down and enjoy their stay. So it's a real bonus through the year. We can make it or break it in the summer, but these extra events allow us to stay very relevant to the communities around us.
I have one more question to ask you before digging into some of the things that might take place the rest of the quote unquote off season. That's
Okay.
I've been dealing with Terry for a long time. I've heard all kinds of events, fastball events, punchball events, Maryland 5-Star, Baltimore Running Festival, all kinds of events, the Bicycling Classic. I've never heard Maryland sports and Team Maryland involved in something like concerts. I understand it's the business of tourism. Who came up with the idea? Was it Maryland Sports presented it to you, or you, Tom, and your group down there in Ocean City, Maryland, went to them and said, hey, we've got an idea to promote tourism under the umbrella of you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it was Maryland Sports had the fund. And again, as I mentioned before, it was to recruit, retain, secure and execute major large events. And we felt like the concerts fit in that category. So, obviously we reached out to Terry and said, hey, would this, fit in the category? Well, here's what we think we can do. 55,000 people over 3 days, selling tickets in every state, and some international destinations. We were able to put Maryland and plaster Maryland, and still do because of our post surveys and post evaluations and promotions about Maryland and Ocean City. We're still able to keep Ocean City top of mind to those guests, hopefully bringing them back, creating more tax revenue for Maryland, and also come back and enjoy other parts of the state.
Tom, wanted to ask you a little bit, and I don't know this, I don't have this in my notes or anything like that. What other events are coming up during the, as I said before, quote, off season? Are there some events, or are you always trying to be creative at coming up with new ideas?
Well, I will tell you, there used to be that stigma at the end of Labor Day, last one out, turn the lights off.
Right.
So that's not any, just doesn't happen anymore. We have a beautiful 250,000 square foot convention center facility. We have events, we have business groups, we have trade shows, we have everything. Every week in here, we're booked solid. The events continue throughout the winter. We have, I'm going to say we have a beautiful performing arts center.
Yep.
We draw national Broadway acts in. We do everything you can, like Fiddler on the Roof. We have Mean Girls coming up. We've got the Addams Family coming in, and then we do concerts as well. We'll bring the symphonies, Baltimore Symphony, Mid-Atlantic Symphony. We'll bring in, music such as Wars coming in for Martin Luther King weekend. Those things are out there happening, but there's that kind of that community. St. Patrick's Day parade is like the unofficial start of our summer season, so it's happening. I can tell you, you can come here. There's always something going on, for all ages. I mean, right now we have Sunfest happening on the inland parking lot. 200 craft vendors, 3-4 days of free music, kids events, bike events. It's a beautiful 75-degree day. We got hundreds of people running around.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention an event that I came down for about first 13, 14 years of Press Box, which is the Ravens Roost Convention held around Memorial Day. That's still a great event.
Yeah, Ravens Roost they're here. I mean, they do a parade, and again, it's kind of their second home, and we're really excited that they choose Ocean City. We got firemen's conventions, we have MACO, the political conventions, the Maryland Municipal League. I mean, it's packed, and we're excited. I mean, in the winter alone, just to give you a heads up,
yep,
we have Winterfest of Lights. It's a 40-day event. It's in a 58-acre park. We were one of the first in Maryland to start that, but we draw a couple 100,000 people annually, and it's just, if you want to feel like a kid again, you come here and enjoy that. But there's something for everyone at that event as well.
And I hear the seafood's not bad down there either.
Seafood's always good. Crab. It's amazing. And and I kind of giggle. A lot of our guests really don't know, but we have this beautiful harbor. It's not on the island. It's like a half a mile from downtown, and fresh seafood comes in off the boat, and that's where we get our seafood from. You can get everything A to Z.
Hey, last question for you. I know Terry has special relationships with all of his partners. What was it like before Terry got here, and how he sort of energized the whole tourism movement behind sports?
Yeah. Well, Terry is a true professional, and he had a vision, and the good thing was he was able to communicate that to all the destination marketing organizations. And again, I can't say thanks enough to Terry and the Maryland Sports Commission to allowing Terry to lead that ship and steer it in the right direction.
All right, Tom Perlozzo, brother of Sam Perlozzo. Tom is the Director of Tourism and Business Development in the town of Ocean City, Maryland. We appreciate your time, Tom.
Thank you, Stan. Appreciate it. Come to Ocean City.
And we thank Tom Perlozzo, again, the Director of Tourism and Business Development for the town of Ocean City, Maryland. Terry, just anything else you'd like to add about his partnership with you and Team Maryland?
I think, Tom highlighted it well. What's really neat about our office is not only are we, driving sport tourism across the state, but because of the things that we champion through sport tourism, we've been given this charge of overseeing a major sports and entertainment fund that has been allow us to spur additional tourism through things that Tom is hosting, like Oceans Calling, Country Calling, and who knows what else is on the horizon with Tom and his creativity. But we've been charged with looking at a bigger fostering of tourism in the state beyond sports because of that major events funding. And Tom has figured out a way to really put it to work.
All right. We appreciate him again, Tom Perlozzo, an interesting conversation. Before we let you go, what's next up on sort of a big event that you've got your hands involved in?
Well, a little while ago, we were the Hall of Fame, Basketball Hall of Fame reached out to us about a potential collegiate tip-off, classic event here in Baltimore, Maryland. And, we are fortunate and we won the opportunity to host the Hall of Fame tip-off, classic at CFG Arena on the 15th of November. We have 4 great men's Division I basketball programs playing. We have Virginia Tech, Virginia, Penn State, and Villanova converging to play a doubleheader on the 15th of November at CFG Arena. Tickets are on sale through the Ticketmaster at CFG Arena. And we're really excited because it's another way to add on to the growth in the experience of putting big time basketball in CFG Arena. And then later on in the winter, you'll see obviously the CIAA men and women's basketball tournament, and then the week-long showcase of the CIAA in Baltimore. So it gives us a cap end to both sides of the basketball season. So we're excited about having our hands inside of the Hall of Fame Tip-Off Classic.
And as I understand it, Villanova is going to play UVA and Penn State's going to play Virginia Tech. That's a really solid group of 4 teams. I know this is just a tiny bit off track, but the CFG Arena has been open, what, about a year now?
Yeah, a little over a year and a half.
A little over a year. Any early, feel for what it's doing to, tourism?
Oh, it's just changed the dynamic of the city of Baltimore when it comes to an entertainment location. I mean, the acts that have been coming through, the sellouts that have been, going through. Frank Remish and team and, the Oakfield group have just done a brilliant job of identifying events that fit in that arena well. And then we've been working with Frank and team about trying to find those off times in which things like the Tip-Off Classic can come in, the CIAA basketball tournament can come in. And how does it correlate with some of the other things that we're looking in the horizon, like Preakness 150 and how we celebrate it and bring the arts community and sport together to celebrate the 150th anniversary of the Preakness Stakes, and then hopefully growing a festival concept and CFG being a part of that environment about how we position, the city for a much bigger tourism activity leading into Preakness than just the 2 days of Black Eyed Susan and the Preakness Stakes. So all those things intertwine, and the work that's going on the complex at Camden Yards between the Orioles and the Ravens and the renovations there with CFG now, the part of that hub and the activity, our entertainment portfolio and our sports portfolio is just continuing to grow because we have great leadership now at all levels with venues that now can host the capacity of things that we want to do.
Terry, I've got to throw you, it's not a curveball, but because I think you're going to like the topic real quick. I've been reading a little bit. One of the first things David Rubinstein, this is not meant to blow backwards on Peter Angelos.
Yeah.
One of the first things I'm reading that David Rubinstein did was to reach out to Steve Bisciotti and meet with Steve Bisciotti and Sashi Brown and start the dialogue of how we can work together. Could you I mean, I would imagine nobody's more giddy about that than you.
Oh, that's a brilliant move. And, getting our 2 anchor, professional teams collaborating and looking out for one another and how we can utilize the complex differently, how we're tag teaming, sometimes double headers where we're doing baseball in the day and something at night or vice versa. It takes cooperation and it takes validation of the opportunities to make sure that Baltimore wins at the end of the day and the greater region wins. And so when they are playing well in the sandbox together, a guy like me is like just out there going, continue to play the music. So I'm like, yes, because that's what we need. We need leaders and we need champions that realize that we can do things that some of these other big metropolitan cities do if we put the right can-do attitude around it. And as you know me, Stan, I'm a can-do. Let's figure it out. Let's roll up our sleeves and make it happen. But you also understand that it's there's other players and the other team members that have to come in. And now the fact that the team is assembling to figure out how do we position Baltimore for the long term, especially in sports tourism, which is obviously, the area in which I'm very passionate about. So yes, that obviously was music to my ears, but I also think it should be music to Baltimore's ears.
All right. Another edition is in the can now. It's Drawing a Crowd, the business of sports tourism. I thank the executive director of Maryland Sports and a member of the board of the Maryland Stadium Authority, Terry Hasseltine. I'm Stan the Fan Charles, and we'll see you down the road in just a little bit.
Thank you.